Hi, welcome to the BoshNRoll channel. I'm your host, Brian Koval. Before we get started, make sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons. If you want to see me play your favorite deck or your spicy brew on the channel, I take donation deck lists. I'll do a deck tech, play a full Magic Online League, and help tune your list. If that sounds good, check out my contact info. It's in the video description below. Now let's go play some Magic. Welcome back to another BoshNRoll video. Today I'm playing Legacy, and I've got something slightly insane for you. So this is from subscriber Rob, and Rob sent me this Niv Mizzet Yorion deck. So we've just got some Bird, Serpent, Dragon Tribal here of we're playing Niv Mizzet Reborn, and you want to put so many cards in this deck that it might as well be a Yorion deck. Yorion doesn't have a whole lot of synergy with this deck. Like, there's basically nothing we actually want to blank except for Niv himself. I guess I could reset one of my Planeswalkers, but mostly Niv is the only thing you'd actually want to blank. But it's an 80 card deck, so we get Yorion basically for free. So the version of this deck that Rob sent me was a pretty classic Niv Mizzet deck. This card has been extremely popular in Pioneer and Modern. If you're not familiar with it, it's a 5 mana Warburg, the full one of each, for a 6/6 flying. When it enters the battlefield, reveal the top 10 cards of your library. For each color pair, choose a card that's exactly those colors from among them. Put the chosen cards into your hand and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. So the color pairs are the Ravnica guilds. So you look at 10 cards and you can put one Golgari card, one Izzet card, one Boros card, etc. into your hand. And the cards have to be exactly those colors, not include those colors. So it's not, you don't get 3 color cards, etc. So that puts some constrictions on what cards you can put in your deck. Now, look through the deck. Basically all of the cards, like I have Brainstorm, Abundant Harvest, Birds of Paradise, and Force of Will. Every other card is a guild pair. So Orzhov, Dimir, Izzet, Golgari, Boros, Gruul, Azorius, Orzhov, Izzet, Boros, Simic, Azorius, and another Simic. So the deck is set up to draw cards off Niv if we get him into play. Now, classically, this is a control deck. Like, you play a bunch of Supreme Verdicts, a bunch of Deafening Clarions, and keep the board clear until you can resolve your Niv. However, in Legacy, I don't think that's going to hold up the way that it does in Pioneer and Modern. Like, in Pioneer and Modern, if you stay alive to turn 5 and jam this thing, it's gonna get there. Like, a 6/6 flyer is huge in those formats, and then also it's really hard to interact with on the stack. So it's just a different dynamic. But in Legacy, we have Daze. We have Pyroblast. We have Swords to Plowshares. So resolving a Bring to Light or a Niv Mizzet isn't necessarily granted, even if we survive that long. So instead of playing the 1-for-1 removal game up the curve and then cashing out with the Niv Mizzet, I want to play this more like a Delver deck. So the way that Delver works is that they have cheap threats that tax the answers early. So like, your opponent has to spend their removal spell on the Delver of Secrets and then on the Dragon's Rage Channeler or on the Ragavan. Then you get to clean up with Murktide Regent at the top of the curve. If the deck was just like, if the blue-red Delver deck was just like Thought Scours and Tome Scours and or Mental Notes to fill its graveyard and cast a big Murktide Regent, you would just answer the Murktide Regent and they would have nothing. And you can't play like that in Legacy. So what I've done to simulate Delver is turn this into basically a Domain Zoo deck. So we have Territorial Kavu. This is a 4 of. I believe it's the only 4 of in the deck other than Brainstorm Bird and Force of Will. Yeah, this is the card that I want to really focus on. This is a Star creature. When Territorial Kavu's power and toughness are each equal to the number of basic land types among lands you control. So it can be a 2-mana 5/5. Even if it's not a 5/5 right away, fetch land or 2 later, it will be. And then every time it attacks, you can discard a card to draw a card, or you can exile up to 1 target card from a graveyard. So kind of graveyard hate, kind of card selection, kind of bad at both, but it's basically tacked on to your 2-mana 5/5 for free, so I'll take it. Another sweet card from Modern Horizons 2 is General Ferris Rockerick. This is a 3 mana 3/1, hexproof from monocolored, so you can't Swords to Plowshares this monster. You're gonna have to decay it. Whenever you cast a multicolored spell, create a 4/4 red and white golem artifact creature token. Every spell in my deck is multicolored for the most part, other than like the ones I mentioned earlier. Almost all the cards in my deck are multicolor, so if General Ferris is in play, we're going to make a lot of golems very quickly. Even if the spell gets countered, as long as you cast it, you get a 4/4. So this is sort of the zoo package. Got this 5/5, got this 3/1 giant threat. We're still an Uro deck, so they'll have to respect that. And then all these crazy goofball spells around, and when the dust settles, hopefully we can Niv Mizzet to reload. That's how I've chosen to pivot this deck. There's a lot of great gold spells throughout Magic's history, and we get Trophy, Decay, Lightning Helix, and then some new ones in Rip Apart and Vanishing Verse. You all know me, Supreme Verdict. That's basically my signature card for Legacy. I jam this in every deck. I actually started with 3 of these in the list until I decided to be a zoo deck, and I didn't think I could play 3 Wraths in my zoo deck. But it's cool. We'll make it work. And then Bring to Light at the top can tie this all together. Find a threat if you need it. Find an answer if you need it. Find Niv if you need it. Out of the sideboard, there's a lot of pretty normal Legacy cards. Meddling Mage happens to be an Azorius thing you can get off Niv Mizzet. Unmoored Ego is a Dimir thing you can get off Niv Mizzet. And my favorite card that I get to play with is Fracturing Gust, which is a Selesnya card you can get off Niv Mizzet. You can also Bring to Light it. And destroy all artifacts and enchantments. You gain 2 life for each permanent destroyed in this way. With all these Urza Saga decks and artifact aggro decks happening, I'm really excited to put this card on the stack. I hope it happens at least once in the league. The one major concern I have with the deck is, of course, the mana. It is a 5-color mana base. That's why I have 4 Birds of Paradise. Just maxed out that one. Not messing around with Ignoble or Noble Hierarch. I want all 5 colors. Green is the color that my fetch lands can get at the core. I have the 8 green fetch lands and then 3 deltas to get the other things. But I want every game to start with a Triome or a bird. And that's basically the plan. And if an opponent draws 3 wastelands, we're probably not winning that game. But if we get our mana under us, if we end up in any sort of control mirror, I think we're going to do okay. So that's the plan. Let's see if the mana holds up, because we have some powerful spells here. At the beginning of round number 1, I'm on the draw. I will reveal Yorion. If you have a companion, you reveal it before you see your opening hand or decide mulligans. That's just how those things work. I have a turn 1 Bird of Paradise. I'm going to keep it. That's about as good as you can hope for. Normally Island Ponder is my brand, but it's going to be Forest Bird for this league. They cracked a polluted delta for Delver. All right, the race is on, folks. Right away put to the test, can this deck hang with Delver of Secrets? And I have Vanishing Verse and Izzet Charm that can kill Delver. And Birds of Paradise can insulate against a Wasteland. If they go Flip Delver, Bolt Bird, Waste you, I'm dead. Okay. Them brainstorming here to aggro flip this Delver. I never really like doing that. Obviously, I don't know what their hand looks like, and they might be making better decisions than me. But in general, I think Brainstorm will have a better use over the course of a Legacy game than flipping your Delver on turn 1. But them casting this Brainstorm right now means that they can't Wasteland and Bolt me. They'll have to pick one or the other. And they have a Daze in their hand, which is great because Bird lets me play around it. I'm going to take my 3. Please don't Lightning Bolt me. Uh-oh. 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 Oh, it's Ragavan. Okay. Am I more worried about Ragavan or Delver? I guess is the question here. If I play, or I can answer both eventually. So I'm probably more worried about Ragavan right now. So I know one of the cards in their hand is Daze. So I'm gonna exile Ragavan. So that's a black and a white for that card. Playing it on my turn plays into Force of Negation, but plays around Expel Pierce. Alright, so they had Force of Will. I wasn't going to beat that anyway. And they pitched a Ponder. Okay, so this Ragavan's going to hit at least once. And then I'm going to have to Izzet Charm one of these creatures, and then hopefully parlay that into a Niv Mizzet Reborn at still a reasonable life total. But this Ragavan, there's a lot of juicy cards that could hit out of my deck. So they exiled Savannah. Okay, that one's fine. As long as they don't get to like Lightning Helix me, we're gonna get along just fine. Expressive Iteration, the cards keep coming. They hit their land drop off the iteration. That's the perfect iteration. 3 cards left over there. All right, Ponder. So I can Brainstorm first this turn. Like, I can afford to Brainstorm and still be playing around Daze. Abrupt Decay is my best draw, because then I can Izzet Charm around Daze and still Abrupt Decay the other creature. Alright, well, actually I can't Brainstorm first, because Bayou, which is the land I have 2 of, does not cast Izzet Charm. The thing I could do is Brainstorm off of Birds of Paradise and just hope to hit another colored source. I might have to do Brainstorm here anyway, because I do want the 5th land for Niv. Alright, I'm swinging for the fences. Come on, fetch land. Okay, even better. Just fistful of lands. I am not going to need this Bayou now. And I think that Bring to Light might be a little hopeful. Alright, so I'm going to put back the Bring to Light. Play Taiga, which is a red source. So I'm going to have to fetch for a blue source. And I think I want Tropical Island. Yeah, because Uro is in my deck still. And, alright, so black, blue, red, white, green. Yes, I can Niv next turn if I Tropical Island. So, deal 2 to target creature. I choose Ragavan. Blue, red. Let's take this thing out. I can't play around Force Negation, because if I pass the turn, they can hard cast it. And I want to at least get a 2-for-1, I guess. But I would prefer if Ragavan just dies. Ooh, Force Pitching Daze. Okay, so the Daze is out of their hand. I'm going to Abundant Harvest for a non-land here. Birds of Paradise, okay. So I'm going to 6 on this attack, which is always a dangerous place to be against Delver, because that's bolt range. Let's hope this Ragavan doesn't do too much damage. Ragavan's in, and it exiled Badlands. Okay, so it hit 2 lands, so they didn't actually get any cards off me. Dragon's Rage Channeler, which is not currently active. It's getting closer, though. They're just missing a creature. No, they do a... Yeah, they don't have a dead creature because they've countered all my removal spells. Kind of wishing I held on to that Bring to Light, because that would be a really good... Bring to Light for Supreme Verdict would be really good here. That's not a line I considered when I got rid of the Bring to Light. It's also crazy that they just milled this Wasteland. Do they not see what I'm doing over here? I would crack off Wasteland so fast on this board. Alright, so I'm at 6. If I cast Niv Mizzet, I die to Lightning Bolt. So I might have to Izzet Charm and play the second bird just as a blocker and kill Delver. I think I'm more worried about Delver than Ragavan. I could also loot with Izzet Charm, but I don't think that I don't have enough life points to work with, basically, is my concern there. Okay, so I'm going to deal 2 to Delver. Red, blue. So kill Delver. Then play the backup bird. So bird I can chump with a bird this turn if I need to. That killing Delver turned on the Dragon Rage Channeler, which we knew was going to happen, but there was a good chance that was going to happen anyway. It still takes 1 damage off the board at least. Right, they kept the card with surveil. So they found something they liked. Oh god, forked bolt. Alright, yep, dead. I'm out of here. Had enough of that one. Okay, so Ram Ranch by Delver on the play that flipped their Delver turn 1. Okay, we're gonna lose those games. So Carpet comes in, Engineered Explosives comes in, Pyroblast is just more answers to a Delver. Plague Engineer, naming Human can check Delvers and Dragon Rage Channelers. And name Monkey, they have a lot of X1s in their deck. Cards that are not as good. Thought Erasure, not important for this matchup. Kaya's Guile's good. Bring Delight. I still like the Niv. Maybe I should have fewer of both of these sort of things, though, because just surviving Delver is going to be important. All my removal stays in. Kyle's Guile might be a little chunky, but, I mean, gain 4 life could matter here. Dak probably sucks. Force of Will's not great. So I can cut a bunch of those and just play to the board. Yeah, I think that makes sense. And then I just have a bunch of things that interact with the board better. Okay, here we go. Okay, so I have a land Birds of Paradise, but no additional land, no way to find additional lands. I mean, Is It Charm can loot, but I'm not keeping this against Delver. There we go. Multiple spells. This hand is actually so solid that I can bottom a land. And I'm going to get the Basic Forest to kick this off. Because Basic Forest casts both Bird and Abundant Harvest, and I can keep things going. Yeah, pretty strong start on a Multi 6. I'll take it. Them having Forkbolt in their deck isn't bullshit, though. Not happy about that. Alright, they have the turn 1 Ragavan. So I can Vanishing Verse that. Alright, cool. Drawing Swamp means I don't even need to use my fetch land yet. So I'm gonna sing it a song and hope it works. Okay, so they Force Pitch Ponder. I'm gonna Abundant Harvest for a spell. Non-land, down trophy. Okay, so my hand is 2 removal spells. They're gonna get at least 1 trigger off of Ragavan. But we are definitely playing the Protect the Queen on Ragavan. Queen Ragavan. And I'm not going to let them daze anything this game. I have enough mana to get around daze. But here comes the monkey. How bad's it going to be? They exiled Abrupt Decay. Okay, that's not a card that their deck can cast. They need a second treasure. Like, they don't have green or black in their deck. Though, I don't love that they took my Abrupt Decay. Because that's one of the cards that would have been great here. Alright, so I have another bird. I can go for Trophy. Or I can go for Kaya's Guile. Guile plays into Spell Pierce. And Trophy doesn't. If I main phase... Or I can play... If I go for Trophy, I can play Bird. Okay, I'm going to play Bird. And then Trophy in their upkeep. Alright, I'll hold on to this Kaya's Guile for later. Still have hope for that one. Terrified of this Forkbolt, though. What a nightmare. So, green, black. There's an argument to wait for combat to do this, because the second Ragavan will have dash. And, like, at least protect from the legend rule. But I don't know if that's a reasonable thing to do or not. So they clearly don't have an answer yet, or they wouldn't just fire off this Brainstorm, unless they're using the free shuffle off my trophy, so they get to ramp and shuffle that Brainstorm. That's pretty good. No Forkbolt, please. Okay, that's fine. I can deal with that one. This costs 3 to Entwine, so I'm a mana away from entwining it, and another mana away from casting it with Daze Backup. Alright, iteration when they've already made their land drop. So this is going to be a 1-card iteration. They surveilled Force of Will into the graveyard. So either they already have one, or they don't think that's what the game's about. Oh, they didn't. I thought they played their land drop already. Lost track of that. Okay, sure. So they gave this thing Delirium right away. I think Kaya's Guile for Exile mode and Edict mode is going to be the play here. But them milling that force has me pretty worried. I think I am supposed to fetch a Triome here. Just get my mana set up. So I have Ketria, Zagoth, and Rockrin in the deck. I can't fetch Rockrin, unfortunately, with Verdant Catacombs because that's the one that does the things that the current ones don't do. But the birds take up a lot of slack, and this one is an island and a mountain. So this has two unique ones compared to the one of the other Triome. Alright, so I can cast this Conqueso, but it would go straight into a Daze, which I'm not going to do. So I can wait for combat, or I can just do it now. I think doing it now is just the right call. And if I do it now, I can also put Yorion in my hand. Okay, so each opponent sacks a creature and exile each opponent's graveyard. That's what I want to do here. Because I want to be set up for the Murktide region as well. Like bombing their graveyard messes up this channeler and slows down their regent. Yeah, of course they had 4s. We saw them mill the other one. There's genuinely no surprise there. So now it's time to wish for Yorion. I need to fetch a Plains with this. So, because Plains is the type of land I don't have yet. I think, is it Tundra or is it... I don't have a Plateau. So yeah, it's Tundra. And then put Yorion in hand. Yorion is at least a 4/5. Like if we get it into play, it is bigger than Dragon's Rage Channeler, which has to attack every turn. But we are Hellbent versus Delver at this point. We are at 15 though. That's a lot of life. See how long it holds up. Oh god, the Forked Ball? No. That's definitely a one of, and it's definitely a blowout every time. So if I... Oh, and now they're casting Murktide Regent. That's the only thing that 2 blue does in this deck. Alright, time to draw. I don't even know what I can draw. Izzet Charm was not the answer. So I can draw 2, discard 2, and hope to hit Assassin's Trophy, I guess. Here we go. If their hand is just Pyroblast, we're fucked. Dovin actually does buy a lot of time here. Okay. I'll discard these 2, and maybe I can Dovin next turn. 8, 9. I'm going to 3. I'm dead to Lightning Bolt. It turns out that the hyper-efficient deck with Wasteland is not exactly where you want to start with your 5-color Dirtle Zoo deck. Oh, Price of Progress, you got that one too? Yeah, with Price of Progress and Forkbolt as well, like those are both really old Blue-Red Delver technology, but they're very good in this matchup. So that was a tough match. Things need to line up well for us, and they just didn't. So on to the next one. On the draw, in round number 2, I'm going to keep this hand. The mana's awkward, but welcome to playing a 5-color Niv Mizzet deck. But I do have Force of Will, Supreme Verdict, and 2 Brainstorms, which are all legacy cards. Taiga is the only thing in my hand that's not really a legacy card. We're playing against Eldrazi. So this Supreme Verdict... Oh, geez. Supreme Verdict is likely to be pretty good. So my plan is probably to Force of Will their Thought-Knot Seer next turn, and desperately try to get to 4 mana to cast this Verdict. And I will lose the game to Wasteland or Chalice of the Void at any point. Tough crowd. The good news is I can fetch... Oh, Jesus. The Cavern? You got the Cavern? Okay, so here comes an endless one for 3, so I'm taking 6. At least... So I can still cast my Lightning Helix. That'll at least absorb some of this damage. And we are pretty much dead to everything else. So this gives me the one colorless for Supreme Verdict. So this Verdant Catacombs and the Polluted Delta have to do a lot of work in the meantime. So I'm gonna hang on to the Helix and the Fetch for now. God, if they just have Smasher. God, they had the turn 3 Goldfish. Alright, so I have to Lightning Helix one of these Mimics. That saves me 5 damage and gains 3 life. So I need to get the Tundra here. Yeah, that makes red-white. So Helix, one of these. That's out of here. Yeah, they just did have the full turn 3 Nutters on the play. I'm taking 13. I don't think there's an out in my deck. I don't play a Terminus. Even the Deafening Clarion doesn't do it. Brutal. All right. Just like that. Okay, so they're a Wasteland deck with Chalice of the Void. I can board out Vanishing Verse. It doesn't have any targets in their deck. Okay, so the Plague Engineers come in just as Death Touch bodies that can interact with the board. I don't think anything else comes in. Sideboard is not set up well for this. Vanishing Verse, really bad. Exile target monocolored permanent. Their whole deck is colorless, so that's a no-go. What else is pretty bad? In Drown in the Lock, probably will never target anything. Yeah, this whole game is going to be about surviving until I'm able to cast my big spells. Territorial Kabu is actually insane here, because it's bigger than most of their stuff. So that's going to be a big part of the plan. Thought Erasure, not the best, but it can at least figure out what we're up against and take a Reality Smasher. I could bring in Meddling Mage and just name Reality Smasher. Is that better than Drown in the Lock? Probably. I'm never gonna, like, they don't really put cards in their graveyard, so I'm never gonna counter anything or kill anything. Drown in the Lock always hits Endless One, which I guess is some silver lining. And I think Meddling Mage is better than Dak Faden also. It's because Dak doesn't impact the board meaningfully, and Meddling Mage naming Reality Smasher or Thought Not Seer could buy me some time. Okay, that appears to be the plan. Okay, I have this tapped Triome that doesn't cast Birds of Paradise. That's a mulligan. I had the Supreme Verdict again, though. Okay, here we go. This is the kind of game that maybe I can win. I'm going to keep this and send Deafening Clarion to the bottom. So I have the turn 1 Bird, turn 2 General Ferris, turn 3 Kaya's Guile. This is definitely the kind of game we can win, if such a game exists. On the play, no less. So here's Birds of Paradise, let's go. Once Upon a Time, once again. They have a Smasher in their hand, confirmed. There's Mimic. Alright, only one Mimic this time. They're getting soft. Alright, Trophy is really good. So we have the game plan lined up here. Time for Ferris, which is really cool because protection from monocolored, or hexproof from monocolored means that Dismember, which is basically the only removal spell they can play, can't target it. Right, there's a Cavern of Souls. Let's see if I can bridge the Trophy into the Guile. Like, if I can kick the Guile, I guess kicking it doesn't really matter, because I don't care about their graveyard. Eldrazi Displacer. Okay, so now I actually have a reason to cast Trophy instead of Guile. I guess they do have colorless mana, but they don't have 2 types of colorless mana. But Eldrazi Displacer blinking my tokens out of existence is a problem. Abundant Harvest. That's actually pretty cool, because that is on curve. That lets me use all my mana this turn. So I'm going to harvest for a non-land. Another Trophy. Count it. So I think I want to just zap their Displacer right now with Trophy. So I need a green or black source for this. I think Tropical Island is a good one. I already have Island and Forest, though. Can I get different land types into play. Scrubland puts a swamp and a plains in, and that's swamp, plains, island, mountain, forest. Yeah, that's all of them. Okay. I'm gonna get Scrubland. And then trophy this thing. Hope they don't play a waste. Get my first 4/4 token. Wipe this thing out. I get to attack. Right, they don't have a waste. They usually don't these days. There was a time when maybe they had them, but that's not really the time we live in anymore. And I should be able to blow them out with Kaya's Guile next turn in combat. Like, even if they smash me for 10 right now, like, the next turn, the Kaya's Guile, removing a creature from combat, gaining 4 life, and creating a second 4/4. It's a pretty big deal. And I take my 10, a second Mimic. Alright, right on time. You love seeing the Mimic arrive after the Smasher. I can cast both of the spells in my hand. Is that true? Does the mana line up? Yes, because I can Kaya's Guile. I have... oh wait, nope. I only have 2 black sources. I think this works. No, it doesn't, because one of my black sources is also my only white source. So I can only pick one of these things. I am not going to attack here. So I can decide if 4 life or a 1/1 blocker is more important coming into next turn. I guess I could have put Yorion in my hand if I planned far enough ahead that... Is this another Smasher? Oh no, it's Endless One. Okay, at least that one doesn't have haste. So I am going to Kaya's Guile in response to this, because I don't want them to be able to sack the creature that can't attack. I want to take one of these attackers off the board. So Guile, is gaining 4 life or having a 1/1 more important here? Going to 10. Yeah, I think going to 10 sounds good. Each opponent sacks a creature. Yeah, this, just checking, this is 6. Yeah, it's 6 to entwine, so I can't do both. So each opponent sacks a creature. You gain 4 life. That sounds pretty good. White, black, and I get a 4/4. Alright, so 4/4's in. They're going to lose one of their 5/5s. If they attack this turn, I can double block Smasher with my 4/4s, and then they're just miles behind, and I can trophy to rebuild next turn. Yeah, Ferris Rockrick is a monster. Alright, the beats are continuing. Double block Smasher. I'm choosing that one because I can target the other ones without discarding cards. It also has Trample, so it's untrumpable. Force of Will. Not really what I was looking for, but it's not that bad because I can wish Yorion into my hand, and that is a blue card for Force in case that matters. I don't know how it would matter though. And then I can still cast Trophy. And then I can cast Yorion next turn just as another multicolor spell and a 4/5 body. Just put 8 power and 9 toughness onto the board. Dismember. Oh, there is a Force of Will target, but they just spent 4 life and a card to answer a thing that I don't care about. Yeah, that's fine. Because if they attack, I get to trophy the Dismember. Oh, okay. Do I want to let this resolve? Or force it? Like, I lose Yorion either way, but I can keep Force of Will in the other version of events. So I'm gonna trophy the Endless One right now. And then I'll let them just take Yorion. Yeah, Force of Will's pretty awkward. So the Smasher is in. It's definitely taking Yorion. I'm sure they don't care at all about Force of Will. And then the Smasher's a 4/4. I will trade my Golem for it. And then just hope to draw a spell. They're down to 1 card in hand. Basically any spell at this point gets things stable. Here we go. Spell, please. Oh, baby. Oh, baby. That's a spell. Okay, white, green, black, blue, red. Not a bad draw step. Okay, let's see how it does. Whoa! Oh my god. It drew 6. It drew 6. I have never seen that happen in my life. I've played a lot of Niv in those other formats and never seen it draw 6. Wow. Eldrazi Displacer, can't counter it. They can't quite blink me out of the game yet. Why are they attacking? Yeah, they don't attack here. Whoa. Just draw 6. Okay. If we lose every other game this match, that was worth it. Does anything change here? I guess Engineered Explosives. Clearing out Mimics is pretty reasonable. Also, Endless One being a 0. If they have Chalice of the Void, that's also a 0. I don't care a whole lot about Chalice of the Void with this deck overall. The problem with Engineered Explosives is that I will have to remove... I guess if I cut the Force. Like, Force was pretty bad. Okay. I'm fine with this. I was about to say I would have to remove a gold spell like Thought Erasure, but I think that Engineered Explosives is the way to go. Or over Force of Will. Alright, I got the bird into Ferris again. But we're on the draw this time, and that game was close even with my nut draw on the play. Let's see if they have a Chalice of the Void for the first time. Once upon a time, 3 for 3. Their fairy tale is coming true. They revealed Ancient Tomb. Ancient Tomb and Thorn. Okay. I plan on playing creatures. So, Basic Forest does not cast Ferris on turn 2 with Tropical Island, even with the help of Bird of Paradise. So I am going to have to move in on Bird, and if they have Wasteland, they have Wasteland. Also, double Plague Engineer. Like, -2, -2 on Eldrazi starts to be a pretty relevant stat. But, I mean, I'm obviously going to play Ferris first if I can get him into play. But they didn't Wasteland. They had Cavern instead. So, we're sticking around for at least one turn. Warping Whale. Oh no. My hubris. They brought in Warping Whale for Birds of Paradise. I'm kind of impressed by that. Like, they really, really wanted to kill Birds of Paradise. Fair enough. Okay, I can't Assassin's Trophy because of Thorn of Amethyst. And unless I draw a different land... Oh no, Karaka's answer is Ferris. Thought-Knot Seer gets to look at this 2-pair hand. Hopefully they just take Ferris because of what a beating it was last game, but they do have the Karakas to answer him. I'm definitely just going to play Plague Engineer next turn. Just like start gumming up this board with bodies, Death Touch bodies. Trading off with Thought-Knot Seer is pretty nice. I actually think Plague Engineer is the take on this Seer. It depends on what's in their hand, but from what I can see, Plague Engineer is the keep, or the take. Alright, they agreed. They took a Plague Engineer. We have comparable assessments of the matchup. So I should probably fetch a Triome while I can. So I'm gonna get the... Oh, awkward. If I want a black source... Oh shit, I should have waited for my draw step. I didn't consider that the only Triome I can get is just more of the same that I already have, and if I want to actually diversify my colors that I have, I probably need to get Scrubland, actually. Which is a regrettable fetch. I guess Badland? Badland actually does everything too. Alright, it doesn't cast Ferris, but I'm not planning on casting Ferris anyway. Okay, I'm gonna get Badlands. Yeah, that was loose. I don't actually have all 5 Triomes in the deck to choose from. That was a great draw. Alright, so here comes Plague Engineer, naming Eldrazi. Just seems so hilariously irrelevant, but 2/2 Death Touch body is real. And their Mimics are stuck in their hand until they kill this thing. I will block and trade immediately. Get my card back off of this Thought-Knot Seer. Draw Uro. That's a real magic card. There's the Mimic. Looks like they did need that trade after all. Or did they have 2 of them? Wow. I blew it. Should have just taken 3. Who knew? Okay, so I should probably just Uro here. Yeah, that sounds like it makes a whole lot of sense to me. So blue, green, 1. Here comes Uro. Let's draw Territorial Kavu right now. All right, that wasn't Territorial Kavu. Put that in. Put this in. Pass the turn. So next turn I can Ferris plus Trophy even through the Thorn. I get the Golem before Caracas can bounce me, so I just need to fade a draw step. Like if they go Land Smasher right now, I'm real sad. All right, Eldrazi Displacer. That's really good against the tokens, of course, so that's going to be my target for Assassin's Trophy. I'm going to go Ferris, immediately Trophy, Eldrazi Displacer. And this Verdant Catacombs... Oh wow, you have Lotus Petal in your deck? Interesting. The old Lotus Petal, Thorn of Amethyst synergy deck. So I am going to get a Triome with this one. I already have red. More red wouldn't hurt, and more blue, because I also have Uro in the graveyard. Yeah, I do need a second blue source for Uro. So Ketria Triome. And then I can just have to make sure I leave up green-black. So white, red, colorless, and then green, black, Troll Toll. Alright, they didn't have a waste last game. Let's hope they don't have one this game. Don't know where it would come from. That Lotus Petal is scary, though, because that does cast Smasher, if Smasher is the card that's been sitting in their hand. But they can't bounce Ferris if they want to cast Smasher. I basically just gotta hope it's not Smasher. Like, we know it's not a land because they've missed their land drop for several turns. It's definitely a spell, and it's a spell they wouldn't have been able to cast on a previous turn. That Ancient Tomb was good. Now they can Smasher and Caracas. Fuck! That is, of course, what they had. And I have to chump block because I am dead. So I'm gonna chump this. Yeah, I go to 5 here. I'm actually not dead. There's still game to play here. Especially if they let me untap with all my open mana, so I might not even need to redeploy Ferris. I guess they're worried about Uro. That makes a lot of sense. Alright, that's an even better reason to bounce Ferris, though. So, okay. If I Ferris plus Uro, then I go to 8. And... Alright, they're currently Hellbent. So if I play Ferris and pass the turn, I can Trophy Reality Smasher, get a 4/4, and then the Mimics are bricked, and I need to fade a draw step, and then I can Uro after that. I can Ferris plus Uro on the following turn. I could Ferris plus Uro right now, and then I go to 8, get a 4/4, and they can bounce one of my 2 legends. They would bounce the Uro and then attack, and I feel like that is I feel like Smasher needs to leave play. That's got to be priority number 1. So white, red, colorless, get Ferris back in, and I'm just gonna Assassin's Trophy and hope to fade a draw step. Here we go. All right, so there's the Caracas. Here's the Trophy. 1, 2, 3. And do I discard the Brainstorm or the land, actually? I actually think I discard Brainstorm, because the land lets me go Ferris Uro next turn. So I am going to discard Brainstorm to this. Wild. Okay, please don't have drawn a second Smasher or Endless One. Oh, they're going into combat. Oh, we're doing it. We're doing it. Oh, we drew Niv. Okay, time to figure all this out for real. Do my lands actually cast Ferris and Uro? So, green, green, blue, blue. So if I fetch Scrubland with Polluted Delta, that gives me red, white, colorless, and then green, green, blue, blue. Okay, yeah, so I have to get Scrubland. All right, yes. Red, white, colorless. I'm being so careful here. And then blue, blue, green, green. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And Uro's in. That's another token. Life has been gained. They can now their Caracas is under siege. There's just more legends than they want to bounce every turn, and if they bounce Uro, that makes tokens with Ferris. Okay. This is exciting stuff. And I have the Niv. Alright, so I think I'm going to go to combat first. See what they do with their Caracas. They probably bounce Uro pre-combat, but like I said, that's not even really good for them. But at least it does. They're at 6. Yeah, they've tapped a bunch of Ancient Tombs this game. Didn't even notice that. Alright, Caracas bounce Ferris. Rockran Triome. That's a good one to put into play off of Uro. I'm going to crunch with the squad. They're at 6. They're going to have to block like most of these creatures. They can let one golem through, so they have to block, and now they're empty and I'm at 10. So I can Abundant Harvest for a spell. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2. I'm 1 mana short of Ferris plus Niv. I could just Harvest for a spell. I think just Niv is better. Alright. Black, green, white, red, blue. My opponent's kind of tilting in the chat, so I'm just going to put Niv on the stack. Haha, we got the scoop. Niv Mizzet is too good. That was an awesome match. This whole league is worth it. I'm on the draw in round number 3. I am going to keep this hand with Bird of Paradise and Abundant Harvest. If they're a deck that constricts my mana, this could backfire, because I do only have the 1 land. Alright, of course it's Blue-Red Delver. Wouldn't be a Legacy League if I wasn't put through my paces early and often. So I can play around Wasteland, or I can play into casting my spells. I think with this 1-lander, I'm kind of priced into the basic forest. I would be much happier with this hand on the play, obviously. But Uro's really good. Abundant Harvest does work. So if they daze this, it means they're not going to bolt it. But Birds of Paradise is the kind of card that if you don't daze, you may never daze anything. So there's some incentive to daze it. I hope they just don't, though. Just let me cast my spells. Nope. Nope. No chance. Delver trigger. Oh, it didn't flip. My opponent must be pretty bad at playing Delver if it didn't flip. I hope that I can draw a land so I don't have to count on Abundant Harvest resolving. Oh god, another one. Draw a land, please. Uh-oh. Okay. Harvest for a land. Hope they don't have days. Land. Abundant Harvest is a huge deal. Just, that's so much better than Ponder in this exact situation. As much as I don't like playing a tap land in response to... in the face of double Delver against the Wasteland deck, it's what I got. And now they are aggro brainstorming. I do like it here when I'm clearly just like sputtering to get my wheels under me and they can crunch for 12 a turn. I'm on a 3-turn clock. I do like this brainstorm to flip Delver. Oh wait, no, the brainstorm just resolved. I thought the Delver trigger resolved and it didn't flip somehow. But of course it did. They have another brainstorm. If they have Wasteland, I'm out of here. I'm probably out of here anyway, honestly. So I take my 6. There's the Wasteland. Yep, concede. There's no way out of this from there. Like we said in round 1, it's a dangerous time to be experimenting with 5-color Triome decks when Blue-Red Delver is the best and most played deck in the format. But we knew that coming in. There are no surprises. I know. Alright, so I'm bringing in the same things I brought in round number 1. Force of Will is bad. Thought Erasure is bad. What else was bad? I think Dak Faden. I think I cut all the forces last time, and I still think that's right. I gotta cut 2 more cards here. What were they? Arian, Ferris. Ferris is worse here than he was in other rounds because it is a 3-mana card that barely affects the board. Protection from monocolor means they can't kill it though. Or hexproof from it's not protection. I don't get to just block forever. Hexproof means they can't bolt it though. There's no good way to remove that thing from play. Adron in the Lock's a little awkward with the deck that's trying to actively manipulate the number of cards in its own graveyard. Oh, Bring to Light. Oh, I shaved a Bring to Light and a Niv last time. That's what I did. I think I am going to shave a Niv still, but Bring to Light for Supreme Verdict is one of my better outs. Like, Supreme Verdict is my best card, and if I can maneuver the board to a place where that's actually where Bring could resolve, that's good for me. So I am going to hang on to that. And all of this removal is going to stay. Territorial Cabu is going to stay. Uro is going to stay. I think Ferris is just the last weak link here. I do think Dovin is better than Ferris as far as 3-drops go, but it might actually be Bring to Light, even with the Binding Supreme Verdict line, the 5-mana blue spell against the Daze Pyroblast deck. Yeah, I'll keep my 3-drops, thanks. All right, we got a turn 1 bird again, but I'm on the play this time. I have Pyroblast that can answer a Delver. We're going in. 2 lands this time? What's it like to draw 2 lands in a Legacy deck? Alright, Scalding Tarn. Let's see, do they develop their board or do they hurt my board? I hope they develop theirs. Alright, Ragavan. I was hoping for Delver, the one I can actually bolt, but there's Ragavan. So I have my Brainstorm. That does do a lot of stuff. Let's just draw Abrupt Decay, though. Okay, so what do I want to do with this? I can Brainstorm off of the Volcanic Island, which leaves my bird open and gives me the most options to cast a removal spell I might draw, or any spell I might draw. I could Brainstorm off the bird, which gives me a chance to hit the fetch land and actually shuffle away this Bring to Light that I definitely don't want. I think shuffling or brainstorming off bird makes the most sense. Brainstorming off Volk makes the most sense if my only goal is to not get hit by Ragavan. But I basically have to accept that Ragavan's coming, and this sets up my best chance to cast real spells on future turns. So I'm going to put back Bring to Light and Triome and play Volcanic Island and pass. If I can protect my Plague Engineer with Pyroblast next turn, that does a lot of work in this matchup. But the fact that I'm passing the turn into Ragavan, where now they can like Bolt and Wasteland me from in a head position, is pretty bad. And that Brainstorm didn't find a fetch land, so I am just going to redraw the Triome and Bring to Light that I don't want. That's all bad news. Oh, wait. Okay, yeah, I put Triome on top. So I didn't consider Ragavan just helping me work through my Brainstorm. That's pretty cool. So they're going to take my Triome. Oh, shit. They took my bird? I just clicked right through that. Didn't even think about it. That sucks. Probably should have Pyroblasted that. But they can cast Birds of Paradise now. Okay. Whoops. Wow. That wasn't even on my radar as a possible thing. So I can Brainstorm in this end step, or I can just draw the Triome, take my medicine. Wow. Yeah. I just clicked through that. Wasn't even thinking. So I do think that this Plague Engineer is important enough that I can't just ram it into a Daze. I can Brainstorm here. Try that again. See what happens. All right, Brainstorm resolved. Okay, cool. I did draw a card I can cast. And I'm going to put the Triome on top where they can steal it again, because I really want that card gone. And then I can Vanishing Verse the Ragavan. When's the best time to do that? If I do it now, they can just Daze. They can just Daze on their turn as well, where they might be able to get extra mana out of it. They can force a negation for Hardcast because of Bird on their turn. Yeah, I guess I just Verse right now. Daze is going to happen. Ooh, Force of Will. Okay. They had to spend a force on that. I like that. Channeler has instant creature land. They just pitched Ponder to Force of Will. So there's no sorcery yet. Alright, looks like there's not going to be one right now. They're going to exile my Triome with Ragavan. Didn't want that anyway. Then this turn I can Plague Engineer with Pyroblast backup. That'll kill at least one thing on the way through. There's the Bring to Light. And then... So I'm going to play Badlands and Plague Engineer. I've played around Daze. I hope they pitch something to Force of Will. Or they could Hardcast Force. They wouldn't pitch. Okay, so is killing Ragavan or Dragon's Rage Channeler more important to me at this point? And I think it is Ragavan, who is a monkey pirate, and you're a human shaman. Yeah, I think the Ragavan is more important. And I'm going to name Pirate, because there's only one monkey and only one pirate in their deck, and for style points, let's name the Pirate. I'm still holding up Pyroblast, in case they have Murktide Regent this turn. That's a good answer to that one. There's a good chance this is just eating a Lightning Bolt. Alright, I'm going to let the Submerge trigger, or the Surveil trigger resolve, and then I'll Pyroblast this thing. Alright, now that just turned on Daze. Just hope their last card in hand isn't Daze. Alright, all you can do sometimes. Okay, so their last card is not Daze. Alright, there's Lightning Bolt. Surveil needs to just not find a sorcery. And I get to Bring to Light this turn. Oh, they milled a Wasteland. What's up with people milling their Wastelands against me? Do they know how fucked up that card is? Okay, they dashed a Ragavan. That's also fucked up. Alright, that's why they had to remove the Plague Engineer, because it answered the Ragavan in hand as well. They are Hellbent. This Assassin's Trophy, I don't think can take me off a color. I do play enough basics. And if they want to sack their 2 treasures to try to play whack-a-mole with my colors, that's okay. The good news is that I am going to Bring to Light next turn. The only basic that's not in the deck is Mountain, and I have multiple red sources. So basically, whichever one of these they go for, I get the basic that matches it. Like I get Swamp on this, Island on this, Swamp on this, and I can still cast all my spells, or cast my important spell. Okay, they have decided to trophy. Ooh, going after the plains is really fucking smart. That actually does take me off 5 colors because I don't have 2 plains. Well played. Yes, I would like to use the ability. And I think that I want... I have 2 green sources already. Yeah, I don't want to get taken off blue, so I'll grab the island. I can still Bring to Light for 4 colors, which casts Supreme Verdict, but the Ragavan dashing is actually just better than it being in play. Come on, white source. Alright, I'll take that too. So I can play Taiga. Now, time to consult the deck list. I can cast something for 4 different colors from my deck, which Supreme Verdict is the big one. Uro is the other one that is possible. I think I just want to Plague Engineer, though. Yeah, if I Plague Engineer name Human, then I can block Ragavan. Alright, cool. Name Human. Because that gets Delver and the Dragon Rage Channeler. This turns off their Surveil. Sucks that my window for Bring to Light was taken, but we are kind of stable. A Lightning Bolt destabilizes me very quickly. But we know that their hand is Ragavan plus whatever their top deck brings every turn. And as soon as I find a white source, I'm niving. They did not shuffle their Ponder. Birds of Paradise is basically cheating here, because that gives them the mana to Bolt plus Dash. Turns out giving Delver extra mana is scary. Alright, they took Expressive Iteration, that's good. So that means I'm not... If they find Bolt land, that means they can't dash this turn, so I'm not getting Ragavan this turn, which is good news. And Dragon's Rage Channeler and and Delver are both not plays right now. They could just dash Ragavan to try to remove Engineer from play, which I think is a perfectly reasonable plan, which I will oblige. I take my 2-for-1s where I can get them. And let's see what happens now. White source. Yeah! Even get to play around days. It's go time, kids. Blue, white, green, red, black. All right, here we go. Cast with 5 colors. Bring it to light. Here comes Niv. All right, he's in play. Here we go. How many? How many do I get? I have to choose between Helix or Ferris. Pretty sure I want Helix in this matchup, but let's see what else I get. I'm getting Supreme Verdict, Uro, Dovin, and then I have to choose between Helix or Ferris. I think I want Helix for this matchup. Oh, I don't get both of these. Right. Verdict or Dovin. So these things don't answer specifically. Oh, Dovin does answer Murktide Regent. Yeah. All right, we're fine. Let's go. Okay, so now their 1 card in hand plus the top of their deck have to beat Niv Mizzet plus the follow-up Uro and Lightning Helix with me at 12. If they have Price of Progress, 2, 3, 4, 5, I actually just go to 2. All right, nope. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I go to 2. So I should be a little careful of that. But Dovin is really good. It's just like a one-sided Thalia, which is pretty good against Delver. And Uro, I don't need to explain why that card is good. Dragon Rage Channeler, you got it. That dies the Lightning Helix. And has to attack Niv Mizzet. It has to fight every day. So I want to Dovin first. Do I want to Dovin first? Do I even care about Dovin? Maybe I don't. Maybe I just want to Uro. So blue, green. I want to make sure I leave up Lightning Helix, so I can't tap my white source. I think that tapping Volcanic Island makes the most sense because Bayou Badland gives me Abrupt Decay, or Savannah also gives me Abrupt Decay, so I'm going to leave a blue available. Like, it gives me Abrupt Decay or Lightning Helix. We'll see if I actually need both. Okay, so Uro's in the bin. Let's fight over this Dragon Rage Channeler. Lightning Helix. On the stack in Legacy. It's 2021. In for 6. Time to win this game. I have more life, more cards in hand, and I'm ahead on board. I'm attacking. If they dash Ragavan, I mean, is what it is. But that's really the only thing I'm super worried about right now. Alright. There it is. And by super worried, I mean it's the only thing that does anything. I don't even know if I need to be worried about it. Alright, they exiled Verdant Catacombs. That's not going to help them. And then conceded. Yeah, I have Plague Engineer coming down. It can name Pirate, and then Dovin controls the game. Niv Mizzet crushes Delver. You saw it here. Alright, now we gotta win a game on the draw. I don't think anything in my sideboard changes. Still just all my removal is in, lowered my curve as low as I can reasonably get it. I guess my Meddling Mages could technically be in the deck, just as like bodies to put into play. But what do I cut if I'm bringing in Meddling Mage? It would be a Ferris and what? It would have to be a Niv or a Bring to Light. I could go to 1 Niv and just like, because drawing that card when I'm not ready for it is actually just completely heinous. So, alright. Man, if they hit that off Ragavan though, then I don't get it anymore. Meddling Mage is also pretty castable off Ragavan, but I'm not gonna sideboard based on what my opponent can seal with Ragavan. Alright, this is my plan here. I have basically the most presentable hand my deck's capable of on the draw. I'm gonna keep it. I can answer a Delver. Can't answer a Ragavan. Please cast Delver. Or please cast Ponder, actually. Alright, that one's also fine. Okay, so ooh, Ferris. I think I want to lead on the Misty to set up a Brainstorm for next turn. And I can fetch Volcanic Island if I do need to Pyroblast something this turn. They get to do the ponder. So land, sorcery confirmed. Alright, second land milled. They're unlikely to get Delirious this turn. Unless they... Or I guess they could go land, brainstorm, mill a creature. And that would pretty easily get Delirium. I haven't seen Mishra's Bauble in any of these decks yet. They're definitely much more organic on their search for Delirium. Alright, looks like I'm just taking one. There it is. And they're passing the turn. I love when they pass the turn. Oh, first appearance of Territorial Kavu. So I can brainstorm on their turn. Like if they waste me. I could also just jam Territorial Kavu. And playing it into Daze doesn't feel good. If I fetch Volcanic Island, it's a 3/3, which isn't big enough. Alright, Volcanic Island doesn't cast it anyway. I would have to fetch what makes it the biggest. So if I play Taiga, there's no way, because Taiga is both mountain and forest, there's no way to get this bigger than 3/3 this turn. So I'm going to play the Tundra and just pass with Brainstorm available. Maybe I should have played the forest and just commit to a big Kavu next turn and continue playing around Wasteland. But the option to Brainstorm is a nice one. Or just play Pyroblast around Daze. I kind of want to save this Pyroblast for a Murktide Regent, though. They did not mill. Does that mean I should Pyroblast the Ponder so they can't draw the card that they just kept there? I don't think so. I still think saving Pyroblast, like trying to fight Delver in the resource pinching game, is a mistake. I have to fight them on the resource payout game. So when they go for the Murktide Regent or the Delver, that's what I Pyroblast. Alright, they did not play a Wasteland. That's a big relief. They could fetch and jam a 4/4 or 5/5 Regent. It's a 3/3 at its base stats, so they could fetch and jam a 5/5 Regent right now, which I would happily Pyroblast. I don't have another answer to it in hand. It's kind of scary, but I do have one, which is better than normal. In for another one with their Channeler. And I'm going to go for this Brainstorm in the end step. If they Pyroblast this, that's fine. That taps their mana down on their own turn. I think I'd like to shuffle this Taiga back into the deck. Or I guess fetching Triome is probably the best use of this Misty. If they give me that opportunity. Okay, so this Triome doesn't tap for colors I care about. Uro is a big deal, so I'm going to put Triome back in the deck. And I don't need a second Ferris. I think I'm going to fetch the Bug Triome here. So Zagoth gets me Swamp and Forest that I don't have, and then Taiga is the Mountain. And that makes a 5/5 Kavu. Do I need a 5/5? Yes, I need a red source in play. That makes sense. Okay, so here's Taiga, and red-green. Played around Daze, here's a 5/5. If they Force of Will, I'll take the 2-for-1. I'd be kind of surprised if they have Blue Blast in their deck. I'll take a Bolt also, just taking, get a 2-for-1. Happy with that. Alright, Brainstorming in response. So they're digging for an answer, trying to figure out what they can do about this thing. And Brainstorm resolved. What's up with the Kavu? What's the story? Alright, they're fetching. They're not done yet. I hope this is another Brainstorm just desperately looking for an answer. That would make me pretty happy. They did have Force Will. Okay, yeah. Force pitching Daze. So we did work through the Daze. Alright, now Channeler is active. They milled a creature. So it's time for Uro to race Channeler. So classic legacy stuff. Pitching the Daze was nice. It's just one less that I have to worry about. Still at 17. It's weird getting hit with their 1-drop 3 times and still being at 17, because it's just not a 3/2. There's the Regent. They managed to keep their Delirium. They made Regent a couple points smaller than it could have been to keep Delirium. Probably the right call. Assassin's Trophy is a great draw, because now I can answer both of their things, or their Regent twice, if necessary. So if I play Forest, then I can still Uro if Pyroblast resolves. Yeah, blue-green, yeah, okay. Pyroblast that thing right now. Alright, that's gone. I'll take it. Yeah, alright, so if I Uro first, that gains 3 life, puts the land into play, and the next turn I can Ferris, and then, with priority, Assassin's Trophy, and guarantee a 4/4. And if they want to daze the front half of Uro, I'm not that upset about it. Alright, the Uro's in. There was a long pause there, where they were thinking about it. Which of these lands would I rather put in? I think the Volk represents more, while casting less. Like, the Trop casts both Trophy and the back half of Uro, so that's the one I'd like to protect. Though I think if they have Wasteland, they're just gonna cack off the Triome, because that is the best land once it's in play. Ooh, are they just going for the Dome here? Trying to race in Uro? Or just frantically trying to get card selection? Okay, so they kept their card on top. A second Regent would make some sense here. Alright, I don't really care about a dashed Ragavan, but I guess the Treasure can also cast a Regent, if they have it. And, oh, my Kavu, no! Alright, at least it's only a 2/2. But it does exile Uro. That's kind of annoying. Alright, you've got a 2/2. So, that's gone. Destroy target permanent. An opponent controls its controller. Oh, bummer. Alright. It's not its owner. That would be too much fun. They wouldn't let me have all that. Okay, so white, red, colorless, and then I still have green, black for the trophy, and I'm playing around days. General Ferris. I could have Brainstorm Uro'd, which might have been a better play in the face of Territorial Kavu, because it does get to exile my Uro. I probably just want a trophy now. Play around soft permission. They do get to search their deck for a land, but I don't think I can avoid that. Alright, green, black. So I get the 4/4. That's happening. It's in. They can... I gotta hope they don't have Force of Will right now, because then I might actually get clocked. Alright, cool. They do get one attack in with the Kavu, which unfortunately gets to eat my Uro, which was kind of an important part of my plan at this point. But I did skip my chance to put Uro into play to get Ferris instead. Maybe they'll just loot with Kavu, or leave it back on defense. Though I think using it as just like Coffin Purge, just get rid of Uro, is worth doing. Though the Ferris does effectively brick Ragavan. Okay, so they're going for what they're going for here is forcing me to block with Ferris if I want to control their creatures. I think I'm just going to block Ragavan though. Let the Kavu in, because once it eats Uro, I don't really care anymore. Like, the rest of my graveyard's whatever. And the first attack is the only one that matters. There was a time when Blue-Red Delver played one Tropical Island for some splash cards, so it's possible they can make this thing a 3/3, but I don't think it's going to happen. And I'm not going to put my Ferris in front of it. Just going to go to 7, deny their card advantage, and brainstorm my way back into this game. That's the plan. Let's see if it works. Kaya's Guile would actually be insane right now. Just gain 4. Gain 4 life is worth so much right now. Like, that just... If I can pad my life total up to like 9 or 10, I'll feel really good in this game. Murktide Regent and Lightning Bolts are the way that I can lose this game right now. They're just passing the turn. I like that. Ooh. You ever draw all the Triomes? Okay, so Brainstorm's got to save me here. And I think casting it off of Volcanic Island. Or no, I have a lot of green. Yeah, I'm going to cast it off Trop. I want to try to find some gold spells. Oh, get fucked. Alright, put back. So do I play around Daze or do I get a Triome into play? I don't think I need to put a Triome into play. Daze is just much more important. So put back the Triomes. And then play Deafening Clarion on lifelink mode. Okay, so Creatures you control gain lifelink until end of turn. White, red, and I have to leave up 2 for the Kavu. Alright, my creatures gain lifelink until end of turn. If I can just gain 7 here, I think I'm good. And if they force this going Hellbent, I also think I'm good. Okay, cool. We gain 7, and then I put another 5/5 into play, facing down their 2/2 and their hand that clearly just doesn't do what they want it to right now. Red-green, make another 4/4. Daze. Alright, maybe their hand is double daze. Because I don't think they would just tap me out of one color. Oh, weird. Why would they do that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Still not dead to Price of Progress. At 2. Defeated Blue-Red Delver. Best deck in Legacy? I don't think so. Respect the Yorion. I'm on the play in here, the 4th round. And I have my first turn 2 5/5 Territorial Kavu. So I have kept this hand. It's soft to Wasteland. It's heavy as hell on 5 drops. But I'm here for the Kavu life. If I fetch Rockrin Triome, that's the Jeskai colors, and then these are the Golgari colors that round out the 5. Oh, we're playing against a Windswept Heath deck. This is the time to have a turn 2 5/5. Alright, here comes Rockrin Triome. That is Jeskai Triome. That taps for red, Bio taps for green. That's my Kavu. Let's see what we got. I would like to just keep drawing lands, though. But if my Kavu ever rumbles, then I get to start looting. But I suspect a Swords to Plowshares in my near future. Like, Elves would have played a 1-drop. Maverick is going to have Plow. If this is like a blue-white control deck and that they just had their 1 white fetch land, they're also going to have Plow. It resolved. Let's see how long it stays in play. They're fetching in my end step. That's a bad sign. Ooh, they also have Triomes in their deck. Oh, I hope they also have a 5/5 Kavu. That would be so sick. Honestly, I just hope I get to attack once with this and loot. Oh, they're a Depths deck. Or a lands deck of some variety. I'll take that. My lands don't currently cast Assassin's Trophy, but my next land will. Okay, that land now casts Assassin's Trophy. It also casts Dak Faden. So I'm just going to make my land drop, and I'm going to attack and loot Bring Delight into the graveyard. Discard a card, draw a card. Yeah, I want to discard Bring Delight. Oh, Motobug. So, should I just leave up Trophy, or should I play... I'm just going to put Dak into play. My hand is still super heavy on 5 drops, so I can clean them out a bit. Bring Delight, and I don't think I'm going to need Supreme Verdict in this matchup. The Kaya's Guile is insane, though. That answers Merit Lage in play, and I have the trophies to answer the Depths before it makes Lage. My hand is pretty stocked right now. I'm into it. They have a Flagstones of Trocare now. Their deck's full of wonkers. Alright, Knight of the Reliquary. I can handle that one. Kavu can just pound right through it. That's pretty nice. Kavu can exile lands from their graveyard so they don't get to grow their Knight. This Knight's not going to be in play for their turn, though. Like, I'm not letting them Flagstones with Knight and just tutor up 2 lands. Probably get, like, Wasteland and Depths. I would like to keep hitting my land drops. Ooh. He's teasing me with this Roderick. Or Ferris? Rockrick. Ferris Rockrick. Ferris is his first name. I don't think I'm going to need Niv Mizzet this game. So I'm going to attack first. See what they want to do about that. I'm going to loot again. Discard a card, draw a card. Discard the Niv. Like to hit some land drops. Alright, there's a land drop. And then punch right through here. Let's go, let's go. No way they're going to block. So the choices here are trophy this thing, which ramps them possibly into the Depths. But Kaya's Guile can answer a Merit Lage once it's in play, so I'm not actually worried about that. Though ramping the lands deck always is a little bit scary. I think I need to plus Dak, even though my hand is already really good. This is the old do you loot situation, but getting loyalty on deck is pretty important as well. Because if I ultimate this thing, targeting Merit Lage with stuff becomes an option. So I don't need another white source. And Ferris is my only threat. But I don't feel like I can safely discard lands against this deck. So, like, here's what I'm thinking. I guess I get to loot and deck again next turn. So maybe I do just chuck the 2 lands and trophy this thing. I can't leave up double trophy because Triumph doesn't cast it. But if I trophy this turn, or if I... how does this work? If I trophy this turn, I can Ferris plus trophy next turn. Oh, but if I do that, I'm going to need the Tundra. So if I discard Trop and Bayou, but then I don't have the 2 trophies anymore. This is hard. I think I should discard Ferris and Tundra and just hold up trophies. So I'm going to trophy this thing right away. Black, green. Not letting them activate that one. Kaya's Guile is the plan to answer Merit Lage if they just jam it in the main phase. And this Kavu has... This has been the full performance of Territorial Kavu. It just arrived as a 5/5 on turn 2. It's attacked for 10 and drawn 2 cards. It's doing the thing that it's supposed to do. Okay, there's Depths. Zenith for... is it Safekeeper? Dryad Arbor. Okay, so they're playing around an Edict here. That's pretty smart. But if they pass the turn, I'm actually good here, because I can trophy the Arbor, Edict the Lage, and if they don't go first, I can just trophy the Depths. Alright, now I'm untapped and I can trophy Depths. God, Edicts are so good. So is Assassin's Trophy. Okay, so I think I want to DAC first, in case I find some kind of helpful spell. So loot myself. Uro is pretty good. I'll just discard that. Okay, so discard Uro. Though, yeah, if I want to cast all my spells this turn, discarding Uro makes sense. Do I need another black source? What do my lands currently cast? So I have green, black, and then black, white, colorless. Yeah, so I can discard just one of these lands. Should probably discard the Bayou because I have a lot of green and black already. My red is a little skinny. White, black, colorless, green, black. Yes, I have enough to do everything. This mana, it's rough. Attack. And yeah, what the hell? Keep the cards coming. Discard the Verdant Catacombs. Brainstorm's a good card. Alright, let's see what they got for me here. Alright, they're making Merit Lage. Allow the copy to resolve. They choose that one, then you trophy here. So, black, green, still leaves up white, black, yeah. Black. I should probably use the Taiga, black, green. Because blue represents more, including the Brainstorm, than the other things do. Yeah, it's weird they got the Dryad Arbor and played really well around Edict that they hadn't seen, but they played straight into Assassin's Trophy, which they already have seen. Alright. Worked out my way. I mean, I had it covered either way because I had the Trophy and the Edict. But yeah, that worked out really well. Territorial Kavu was messed up. So against Depths, what's the plan? I guess Unmoored Ego. Choose a card name, search target opponent's graveyard, hand, and library for up to 4 cards with that name and exile them. Yeah, I mean, naming Dark Depths seems pretty good. Pyroblast doesn't seem good. Plague Engineer might do something. Like, I didn't see Hexmage. I assume Reclaimer's in their deck. So, Engineered Explosives looks good. Meddling Mage on crop rotation seems pretty good. They had the Bug Triome, but I don't think they're actually a bug deck. I think they're a green-black or green-white deck. Or no, that was Abzan Triumph, wasn't it? So Carpet of Flowers doesn't even work. Okay, I'm off it. Vanishing Verse, Exiles, Merit Lage, Drown in the Lock kills a lot of things. I think Thought Erasure is not where I want to be. Assassin's Trophy's great. Rip Apart, solid. Ferris is good. Dovin can control a Merit Lage for a long time. I don't think they have counterspells, so I think the Bring to Light Niv at the top end makes a lot of sense. Is it Charm might be medium to bad. I'm going to get rid of Deafening Clarion, actually. Maybe not. Maybe Clarion's great. Alright, I think Is It Charm is worse than Clarion. And 2 more cards gotta go here. I actually don't think Force of Will is very good. Just in general. And is it Ferris, Drown? Is it Charm? Alright, I think it's Is It Charm. Okay, here we go. This is my deck. Oh, look at this hand. This is a keeper. I can ramp with Bird, I can kill shit, I can counter shit. Even have a Force of Will if I want it. This is nice. Once Upon a Time has been cast. They found Windswept Heath off Once Upon a Time and then cast Elvish Reclaimer. I'm going to let them have Reclaimer. I can kill it with Rip Apart or Drown next turn. And I don't think it's worth a Force of Will for that reason. Don't 2 for 1 when you could 1 for 1. There's Kavu, but I think that being on the draw, especially facing down Reclaimer, getting Bird and mana under me makes more sense. Because I don't currently have a good answer to a Merit Lage. Alright, so I can Rip Apart the Reclaimer. I could Drown the Reclaimer in the lock, but then that takes me off Force of Will, so I think I just want to Rip it apart. So I probably get Badlands with this. Badlands gives me 4 land types, and it's the red to cast Territorial Kavu next turn. And the red to cast Rip Apart this turn, of course. So Rip you apart, red, white. They could protect this by spinning for Sajiri Step, but I don't know if that's a good use of their Reclaimer. I don't think they can put 3 lands in their graveyard in response. Be pretty impressed, honestly. So this is where you find out if they spin for value or if they spin to play the long game and protect Reclaimer. Bird can chump Merit Lage for a turn if it comes to that. Alright, they're just getting Wasteland. Okay. That's a fair thing to do, though. I do have Birds of Paradise, so trying to Wasteland somebody out from under Birds of Paradise is frequently a losing proposition. But I guess if they have Swords to Plowshares also, then it makes a lot of sense. Let's see what they got here. Choke. Well, I just spent my Rip Apart. What answers do I have to a choke? There's a Force of Will in my hand, obviously. Like, I can just do that. So I have Badlands, Bayou. All my Triumphs are islands. Scrubland, Savannah, Forest, Birds of Paradise, Swamp, Taiga. I think I might just let this resolve and then cast Kavu off Bird Badland. Sure. Maybe that's reckless, but I'm in for it. I like being a little reckless. Hey, or I could just exile this and not worry about it. So I think I want the Kavu in play first. So green, red, put that in. I know that this was my chance, and if they waste me off Badland here, then the Vanishing Verse becomes harder to cast, but I have Force of Will still, and I'll use it to protect my Kavu. Yeah, so I can protect Kavu with Force, and when Kavu attacks, I get to loot. So we're just looking for a black or white source. Ooh, that's a no. Gotta counter that. Yeah, Bird is much more important than Kavu to this plan. Alright, that's an island that's not gonna untap. I'm gonna attack and loot my Deafening Clarion into the bin. Oh, Bird of Paradise. Don't mind if I do. And I didn't play Ketria Triumph before combat. It would have been 1 extra damage off the Kavu, but I think that giving myself the chance to draw an untapped land makes more sense. Okay, so birds can play the Vanishing Verse. And here we are. This is the pivotal turn. Even if they find depths, I can Vanishing Verse the Merit Lage and just continue to ignore choke. So another Wasteland. I'm not worried about Wasteland. My lands already suck. Target creature gain Shroud. Okay, that's actually a problem if they make Merit Lage, which they don't seem to be able to do right now. Abrupt Decay is not bad. So I'm going to attack, and I'm actually going to exile because I think what's going on in my hand is already really good. I'm going to exile a Wasteland in case they have Life from the Loams. So I can Abrupt Decay, choke, or Sylvan Safekeeper, depending on what the next couple turns look like. And my birds, I have 2 birds. I can chump Merit Lage twice if it comes to that, but I hope it doesn't. Prismatic Ending, where X is 1 color. I think they misclicked. Whoops. Ouch. I wonder if they misclicked the bird or mistapped their lands. Yeah, exile target non-land permanent if its mana value is less than or equal to... Yeah, and 2 is greater than 1. That's awkward. This is a pretty tight game, and they just put a card in the graveyard. So time to Abrupt Decay, choke, and then enjoy my freedom. Here we go. Roderick. Or Rockrick. Ferris. Whatever the name of this thing is. So can I cast this card and still cast Vanishing Verse? Do I need to cast Vanishing Verse, I guess, is the more important question. So red, white, colorless. Yeah, I don't think I need to cast the verse this turn. So red, white, colorless. Here's the general. I don't think they can make Merit Lage right now. I'm also quite sure that I can't cast Vanishing Verse anyway. So it doesn't matter. I'm gonna exile Savannah from their graveyard. I'm just making knights smaller. They could waste me and make Kavu 1 point smaller, but that cost them a land. And with activating Depths plus protecting with Safekeeper, they might not have lands to spare right now. Also just being able to like tempo them by chumping with bird and clapping back for piles of damage, oodles of damage, you might say, is all pretty good. They fetch for a forest and Knight of the Reliquary. So I've been controlling the size of that thing for a couple turns now. Vanishing Verse can't target it. They could also just yeet all their lands into the graveyard with Sylvan Safekeeper if they feel like that's a play worth making, which I'd be pretty surprised by. Abundant Harvest. Yeah, that's a good one. I'm going to go for a... Do I want a land or a non-land? Probably a land. Yeah, so I'm going to harvest for a land. Though now they have the knight doing knight things. Maybe I want a non-land. Just something I can cast off the birds. Something like Assassin's Trophy, maybe. Alright, so I can trophy knight. They have to sack a land to keep it. And then I just start turtling up for a long game here. I guess I should trophy Safekeeper, not knight. Because I want to deny more options. Black, green. Yeah, so... Oh, they just let it die. I like that. Cool. Don't really have attacks here. Just gotta go big, go wide, tempo through the Merit Lage. If they tutor up the depths, then they can't tutor up the step. If they go for like a turbo wasteland plan, I guess if they waste me twice, my Kavu just dies. That's pretty funny. Alright, they found their own Triome. 2 cards left in hand. Trying to think of how I lose this. They float, they get Dark Depths. If they also have Crop Rotation for Sajiri Step in hand, I can lose. But if they... Oh, I guess I have to tap my birds to cast the verse, so the chump block plan doesn't exist. But But if they spend too much time wasting me, they're just going to die. Oh, did they not float mana? Oh, they're going to lose to Vanishing Verse. Oh my god. Oh my god, folks. Another one. White. Black. Gold spells are powerful. What are you going to do? And I'm going to attack with all my things, and they're dead. Actually, they're at 1. Exile up to 1 target card from a graveyard. I'll shrink the knight a little more. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, they're at 1. That was nice. And I have another Vanishing Verse in case they have any ideas of making another Merit Lage. Oh, they had the Sujiri step. Okay. You can attack for still 0 because these golems... Oh, these are red and white golems. Okay, they do have color. Another choke. Remember when I just let choke resolve earlier and didn't even care? That was awesome. Alright, so... I'm gonna get them with the Rubbins here. They are dead, but white, black. Let's just show off a little bit. Alright, so I guess they could have a Glacial Chasm in the deck, which I maybe should respect a little bit, but I'm just not going to. I absolutely should not, by the way, respect it even a little bit. That was a joke. You should make your lethal attack here against the opponent who has nothing going on. They could get, like, a Mazavith, I guess. But even that's not good enough. If they were getting Maze, they would have blocked first. Alright, they do have a Glacial Chasm. There's nothing really to respect here, because... like, this is gonna... they're at 1, it dies instantly. I'm not getting clocked on the backswing. Like, I'm just really not worried about what's going on right now. So they sack this, knight goes to 9. I can still block the knight if that becomes a problem. Yeah. Too good. Send it home. We're 3-1, on to the last round. I'm on the draw in the final round, playing for 4-1. I'm going to keep this hand. I have a turn 2 4/4 Kavu, if I want it. I would have to play Zagoth Triome on 1 and fetch Badlands or Taiga on turn 2. I don't play a Plateau. The deck probably does want one. When I morphed the original plan from Rob's original plan into this, like, kind of core Boros Zoo deck, I changed a lot of the lands, but I missed that there's no Taiga. There probably should be. Oh good, we're playing against Delver again. So I can just drop this Zagoth Triome, or I can try to get up to Uro before I'm dead. Like, what seems like a better plan here? Like, I could Basic Forest, Abundant Harvest for a land here, and just try to push up. I do want to cast this Vanishing Verse at some point. So if I get Scrubland, or not Scrubland, Savannah, I can cast Abundant Harvest and still Vanishing Verse on 2. Taiga doesn't do what I needed to. Well, Taiga could Abundant Harvest, then cast Kavu on 2. Yeah, maybe I do want to do that. Yeah, Taiga, Harvest for a land. You know, I'm going to get wrecked by Wasteland eventually at all points, so I might as well lean in here. And because this is Dragon Rage Channeler and not Delver, I'm not in like a super hurry to kill it with Vanishing Verse, so I think testing the stack with Kavu, then moving in on Uro, and eventually Vanishing Versing on like turn 4 or 5 is probably where I want to be. Okay, they have a Ragavan. Time to test what we've got here. Oh, they're down to 2 cards in hand over there. They must have mulliganed and I didn't notice. They exiled my Force of Will. You can have that. That was never part of the plan. So I guess I'm just going to drop a 3/3 since they're doing the Ragavan thing. Ooh, can I make it bigger? No, because the Taiga, like the same thing last game, because Taiga is both of the colors, there's no way to fetch off colors. So I can't make this a 4/4 right now. I can drop a 3/3 though and hope it's good. So that's my plan. Bolt's good here, Daze is good here. It sucks that Bolt is good. Like, I would really like to make them have the Daze rather than just cleanly Lightning Bolt a creature. Okay, did make them have the Daze. I don't mind that so much. All right, they bend a lightning bolt. That's interesting. So I can Uro next turn or hold up Vanishing Verse for Ragavan, depending on what I think this game is really about. Guess let's see how much this Ragavan's going to do for me. Or do to me. It's not doing anything for me. They exiled Scrubland. Alright, good to know Scrubland's no longer in the deck. Ponder, you got it. They did not mill the card. They still have their land drop. Wasteland's a beating. They are down to 1 card in hand, though. I had 2 with the Ponder, which they did not shuffle. Okie dokie. Ooh, I can Uro into Birds of Paradise and set up for a future turn, or do I think the Ragavan's too important? Though Uro is a serious magic card that also gets control of this board. So I'm gonna Uro, hit my land drop, Birds of Paradise. If they want to daze Uro, sure. Wow, okay. You got it. So I will not pay for that because I can't. They are really on the Ragavan for life plan here. I can Uro into Vanishing Verse next turn. I guess I would need to draw an untapped land to do that. Here they come. This thing has hit me every turn since turn 1 and just hasn't done anything. All right, do they want to loot here? I think that would be a reasonable thing to do with their treasures. Their hand could use some gas. All right. I don't like it, but here's the loot. Yeah, that also gives them... Oh, Murktide Regent. That's even better. I'm over here like they could loot. Okay, so they've cast 2 dazes already. Ragavan is one of the cards in their hand. I can Uro and Vanishing Verse this turn, but it plays into daze. So, but I think it's still worth doing. There is another Bayou in the deck, but I think I want to fetch with Misty first, just to make sure I'm not messing anything up. So if I get Tropical Island, I'll have blue, blue, green, green for next turn, and I can Uro plus Verse this turn. All right, Trop, Uro, leaving up black, white. All right, Uro's in. They look like they're F6'd over there, which is where I need them to be, honestly. Vanishing Verse, black, white. Okay. No problems. Then I can bring back Uro next turn. The Ragavan's still crunching, but I can Uro plus Bird next turn. If I find an untapped land, I can Uro plus Kavu next turn. And this game's definitely over. Okay, here we go. All right, Brainstorm's pretty solid. They can treasure Brainstorm here. Just really want them to not find a Wasteland. That would mess up my plans pretty bad. But Kavu will brick their offense really hard, even if they waste me. Right, that's not a Wasteland. Oh, they just let Ragavan die to have a permanent Ragavan instead. Okie dokie, folks. That is the land I was looking for to Uro plus Kavu. So, land, and then time to make sure I can Uro plus Kavu. If I blue, blue, or blue, blue, green, green, then I can fetch Badlands and still... Let me make sure there's a Badlands in the deck. It doesn't really matter what order I do these things in. So there is a Badlands. So I can blue, blue, green, green, and then cast Kavu off the Taiga Badlands. All right, green, blue, green, blue. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Here's Uro. Please resolve. Oh, they have 1 card in hand. It's gonna resolve. So Uro triggers. Then Kavu time. Green, red. Uh-oh. We better ban Delver. Ban Ragavan. I think we're doing okay here. Expressive Iteration. So if they get an instant into their graveyard, the Channeler does get to channel. I have Lightning Helix for that. I'm also at 11 life, and they are basically top decking. Oh yeah. On the board again against Delver. So this is the 3rd time in the league we've played this matchup. We know the sideboard plan by now. It's Plague Engineers, Pyroblasts, Carpet of Flowers, and Engineered Explosives. And then we're gonna cut Thought Erasure, Force of Will, Bring to Light, Niv Mizzet, other Niv Mizzet. And that's what I've been doing, right? I guess there was some discussion about Meddling Mage over some of the clunkier cards, just as something that interacts on the board earlier. I think Dak could be better as Meddling Mage. And did I go to 1 Bring to Light in the past? It makes sense to me now. What I did in the past doesn't matter. I'm living in the now, don't live in the past. So all my removal, basically any 2-drop, 1 or 2-drop that's available to me is in the deck. And then my 3-drops are all pretty high impact. And got this tasty little top end if I want it. In we go. Well, dead to Wasteland, but I'm always dead to Wasteland, so I'm going to keep this. It's got a lot of interaction. It does need a white land. It does cast a 4/4 Kavu on 2, and Engineered Explosives on 1. All good stuff. So, which color? Okay, now I think I lead on Bayou. That is my black source, though. I have both green and blue covered in my other lands, so I think maybe Trop is actually the lead. But if I lead on Trop, I don't get a 4/4 Kavu on turn 2. Okay, I think I would rather... I'm likely to explode explosives on turn 2 anyway, so I'm gonna dance around the Wasteland a little bit. And if this gets dazed, that's fine. Gotta work through those eventually. And explosives can even catch a dashed Ragavan. Not this turn, but next turn it will. So I'll probably just play Volcanic Island and pass the turn. Yeah, so Volk gives me Pyroblast if I need it. And I can pop the explosives if I even care to. And then I can Kavu playing around Daze next turn. They still haven't played a Wasteland. Okay. So this is their turn 3. So they do still have their land drop available. Oh, they found a Wasteland. All right, I'm gonna clean up here while I can. If they waste me second mana, I have to do it anyway. Basically just chose a color at random to waste. Bayou, do I want to jam into Daze? They did not daze my Engineered Explosives, so that makes me feel like they don't have it. But it has been 2 turns and they cast an iteration, so maybe I shouldn't have felt that way. But Kavu's in. It's a 4/4. Bigger than Bolt. Wasteland does make it a 2/2. They can just pick their favorite land to kill. Doesn't even matter. Ragavan. Embarrassing. Alright, let's draw a white source. If I can turn on this Lightning Helix, we're going to the races. Oh my god. Kavu's a 5/5. Lightning Helix is available to me. I think I want to attack and loot and then make some decisions. Yeah, I think I want to loot my Meddling Mage away. Sorry, Chris. So attack and discard a card, draw a card. Yeah, I think that Meddling Mage is the one here. Oh wow. I get to Lightning Helix and then also cast Birds of Paradise. I do not mind if I do. Red, white. Helix the Ragavan. Get that out of here. Nice. Birds of Paradise. You didn't have Daze on the last 2 turns. I don't think you have it now. We're kind of doing it, folks. I have Pyroblast if they have a Murktide Regent. They've made it clear they don't have like any other good answers to stuff. Alright, yeah, no blocks here. That's fine. You can Ragavan me. I'm still winning this race. Meddling Mage. Okay, so they can play a Meddling Mage here. And name what? What do you even name? Name Supreme Verdict? I don't know. Good luck. My deck is full of cards. Alright, they are going for the Meddling Mage. What's the name? If they name something in my hand, I can just loot it away with Kavu. Bring to Light. Okay, there is one of those left in my deck right now. Deafening Clarion, are you kidding? I can kill all humans and also give my Kavu lifelink and protect it all. Wow. Okay. I'll play the Bayou. Sorry, Birds of Paradise. You You've served your purpose. Do both of these. So red, white, colorless. Creatures gain lifelink. Kill all your shit. I get a 10-point swing here. Please Force of Will this. I beg you. I'm begging for the Force of Will. Alright, they didn't do it. Alright, so my lifelink boys coming in. Brainstorm and Fire Blast are both good, so I'm going to exile a spell from their graveyard. I'm going to start to get ahead of the Murktide Regent. And 5/5 Kabu continues to crush. Dashing Ragavan, alright. They've been doing a lot of that. They can't cast Vanishing Verse or Trophy or Decay off of a single treasure. They exiled my Scrubland. It's this fucking thing again. All of this looks so embarrassing. Territorial Kavu. Okay. I'm going to... I think I should brainstorm first. See what else I can do here. Oh, I can discard Uro to draw a card. So if I put these two back, I can attack and loot Uro into the graveyard. Discard a card, draw a card. Discard Uro. You take 5, unless you're ready to chump block, which you probably should. I could just fetch and jam Uro here, but I don't want to play into Daze or Red Blast right now when I'm so far ahead. So I think I'm just going to cast my second Kavu with Red Blast backup. Red-green. Kavu! I hope I didn't deafen anyone with that sound. Falsetto singing. Just so stoked that we're about to 4-1, shredding through Blue-Red Delver with this preposterous deck. We did it, fam. That's a 4-1. Alright, so 4-1 with this deck. We lost to Blue-Red Delver once, then beat it twice. We beat the things that weren't Blue-Red Delver. There are some legs here. This deck obviously needs a lot of tuning. There should be a plateau in the deck since it's kind of Boros-based. But this performed. Thought Erasure came out every matchup. We didn't really play a matchup where we'd want it. Is it Charm? I guess I did in round 1 cast a couple Is it Charms on creatures out of Delver, so that was reasonable. It might be better as Rip Apart or something else, but this Kavu is serious business. Just Delver can't kill a 4/4, and it selects, it controls. Really good stuff. I honestly thought I would have more to say after this league, but we just brought the ruckus. Like, I mean, dig in, make sure the mana makes sense. Like, I'm pretty sure you could get a better distribution of duels and fetches than I currently have. You might not need Ketria and Zagoth Triomes. There were a couple times where they didn't really add anything, but the Rockrin Triome I like a lot. So, and change the fetch lands probably so they can all get Rockrin Triome. So there are some kerjiggering with the mana base here, but this deck was solid, like weirdly good. And I like what we did here. Rob, thank you so much for asking me to play this. I'm kind of speechless right now. If you have ideas to fix the mana base, ways to upgrade the spells, I mean, you can basically play whatever you want, so find the right spells. Let me know. Sound off in the comments. This was an absolute delight. I hope you have a lot of thoughts. Please share them with me in the comments. Rob, thank you again so much for asking me to play this. Everyone else, thanks for watching. Remember to hit those like and subscribe buttons. If you want to talk about this deck in exquisite detail, jump into my Patreon. There's a Discord. I'm in there. We can talk about it. This was so much fun. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.